and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. I hope you all have been having a very good holiday season and have had a crackling starter to the new year. We've got some very exciting stories lined up for you today to get 2023 started on a very high note. Now, Kawasaki India is coming back into the small capacity single cylinder motorcycle space with the W175. Now, this is a retro styled motorcycle which borrows cues from the W800, but does it deliver on that promise? Let's find out.
Those of you who are well versed with the Indian motorcycling scene of the 80s and 90s would know that Kawasaki was a very popular brand when it came to commuters, power commuters, etc. Of course, years passed, some of their alliances worked, some didn't, and then Kawasaki started focusing only on premium motorcycles. Today, their range starts at 300 and then goes all the way up to the H2. However, they now want to get back into that commuter space, get a larger slice of the pie, let's put it that way. They want a mass market motorcycle, and their answer for that is this, the W175. The W obviously comes from their retro range of motorcycles. We are well versed with the W800, but now the 175 aims to get in the big numbers. Will it? And that pie that I was referring to belongs to Royal Enfield, and everyone wants a piece of it. I think a Ninja 175 priced and spec'd to take on the Yamaha YZF R15 would have been a better bet. But right now, it is the adventure motorcycles and the modern retros that are the most sought after segments, and hence the W175. Of course, the all black look might work for some. The red actually looks better, but I think given the Kawasaki DNA, the corporate color or the signature, they ought to have made one in green. Maybe they could still make one as a limited edition, one in green with slight golden pinstripe accents or maybe golden spoke wheels. That could look nice. For starters, the chassis has a slightly different geometry and the tank is of 12-litre capacity instead of the 13-litre unit that goes on the global models. In terms of the measurements, 1 litre may not really amount to much, but here in terms of the proportions, it actually does. Compared to the global model of the W175, which runs a 1 litre larger tank, the proportions actually look a lot better for that classic or that old school look. Here, because it's just a little smaller, this ends up looking more like a commuter. The pea-shooter exhaust does try to save the design a bit, but more meat would have helped the proportions of the 175. The flip side is that the riding geometry is more relaxed and doesn't need you to stretch out for the handlebars. Long story short, our W175 is slightly smaller to fit a wider variety of riders. Shorter riders will appreciate the low seat height, while the fairer sex or those with a smaller frame will appreciate the lightweight feel of the motorcycle. I'm impressed how light and nimble the new Royal Enfield Hunter 350 feels in comparison to the classic 350 to attract a new breed of riders to the Royal Enfield clan. But the Kawasaki W175 makes even the Hunter feel bulky and lazy to maneuver, and it's not surprising to see why. While it is not a fair comparison, the similar price tags and the body styles are likely to make certain consumers consider both these options, and that is where the smaller engine size could deter the Kawasaki's ambitions. The highlight of this engine is the refinement that it offers. Even when you're riding at 100 on the highway, that's more or less the top speed of this motorcycle, you do not feel any vibrations in the handlebars. And let me draw your attention here, no bar and weights. Despite that, no vibrations in the pegs either. So that refinement is really something that you're paying all those top bucks for. As far as the torque is concerned, again, on paper, well, not very inspiring, but you'll be surprised at how well this motorcycle pulls in the city, out on the highway, not just with the rider, but also with the pillion. So do take a test ride before you make any decisions. This motorcycle is a lot more than what the spec sheet suggests. 30 to 90 kilometers an hour is its happy zone. And it's beyond this point that the motorcycle starts losing breath, and 100 kilometers an hour takes ages to reach and highlights the low power output of this engine. But the mid-range torque doesn't leave much room for complaint. The other reason why this motorcycle will prove that it is more than the sum of its spec sheet is the suspension setup. It might seem like puny, old school suspension, but it takes on these kind of roads extremely well. Again, with the rider and the pillion. The ride is supple, the motorcycle is easy, light, very nimble, very easy to handle even on rough surfaces like these. And what I really like is the kind of damping that it offers. Yes, the front has a little bit too much rebound. On some of the surfaces, there's a lot of movement at the front. But once you account for that, the motorcycle is easy to ride, easy to handle, and easy to tackle bad roads with. The ride comfort is easily one of the best for a commuter in this segment. The wide seat, fore and aft, contributes further to that effect for both users. The motorcycle maintains its composure around bends quite nicely too, but the skinny tires and the spongy brakes will limit how much enthusiasm you can show around winding roads. The brakes certainly need improvement in their bite and their feel, but the single-channel ABS works as advertised. This Kawasaki is not a quacker then, but the city is where the W175 shines, feeling easy to flick around and simply whizzing through the traffic with a likeable purr. Sure, those expecting a bit of thump from this retro body style will be left wanting. But the exhaust note isn't the typical single-cylinder buzz, and that refinement is what you will appreciate. I really like this motorcycle. Honestly, like I said, when I saw the spec sheet for the first time, even when I went for the launch for the first time and saw the motorcycle, I wasn't too sure about it. But after spending a couple of days with it, after riding this motorcycle for so long, I'm actually beginning to like it. The only fly in that ointment still remains the price. It's a bit too much if you ask me, even for a likable motorcycle like this. Elements like the basic instrumentation, a flimsy key, the simple bent pipe for a grab handle, or the large yet inadequate halogen headlamp is likely to make you feel shortchanged for this price. The latter also drained the battery within minutes when we forgot to switch off the electricals during a fuel stop. But these shortcomings, for the lack of a better word, are easy to ignore once you ride the bike, because it is a simple, nice motorcycle and an alternative to the other modern retros in this price bracket if you're looking for something that is well built, reliable, and yet lightweight. Old-timers too, looking for an easygoing Kawasaki commuter, could take a liking to the new W175. Will all of this amount to the kind of numbers Kawasaki is expecting from the W175 though? Well, that I'm not sure of.